not subscribed to our channel, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button as shown above. Hello friends, welcome to Kamath Astrology. In today's video, we will talk about another important transit, that is Mars or Mangal enters the sign of Leo or Siha on 1st July 2023, and retrograde Saturn from Aquarius will aspect Mars in the sign of Leo, and Mars will also aspect Saturn. So it's a mutual aspect between Mars and Saturn till 18th August 2023. So let us see the impact of this transit on the world. So this is the chart as on 1st July 2023 at 2:37 am when Mars enters into the sign of Leo. And you can see Mars and Saturn are mutually aspecting each other. Another interesting thing is that Mars and Saturn also aspect Moon in Scorpio. Now, is this mutual aspect of Saturn and Mars good or bad? We will look at both perspectives. For this, let us first understand the nature of Saturn and Mars. So, Mars is a very hot planet. Saturn, on the other hand, is very cold. Mars is your aggression, it is your passion. Mars is always in a hurry to do things. Saturn, on the other hand, represents slowness, represents hard work, represents delays, represents hurdles, represents obstacles. Saturn is calm, but he can be revengeful. Mars is very aggressive, but he can be forgiving. If Mars is the accelerator of a car, Saturn represents the brake of the car. So in short, these two are contrasting energies or opposing energies. And when opposing energies interact with each other, there is bound to be friction, there is bound to be vibration, there is bound to be problems. However, not everything is as bad as it appears to be. If the dedication, the hard work of Saturn is combined with the passion of Mars, then with this combination, despite all the challenges, a person can achieve great success. Now both Jupiter and Rahu present in the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars, are also aspected by Saturn, and Rahu and Jupiter also aspect Mars in the sign of Leo. So Mars receives the benefic aspect of Jupiter and the malefic aspects of Saturn and Rahu during this time period. Now let us understand what is the sign of Leo. The sign of Leo is ruled by the Sun, and therefore it represents power, it represents leadership, it represents authority, it represents power structures. And now Mars, who is a friend of the Sun, is entering into this leadership sign. Now Mars represents the armed forces, Mars represents the police force, Mars represents all entities that somehow deal with weapons. Mars also represents surgeons. Mars is also the planet of war, which means that during this time period, the army will take over the leadership in many countries. So army law will prevail in many countries. But now let us look at Saturn also. Saturn is a judge. Saturn represents the judiciary. Saturn also represents the neglected people, the masses. And since Saturn and Mars are in mutual opposition to each other in this time period, that is, they are mutually aspecting each other, It indicates a friction, it indicates a power struggle between the army and the common people, as well as the army and the judiciary in many different countries across the world. Now, where will this effect be prominently seen? Mainly because Saturn is in Aquarius, this effect will be seen in the European countries. And because Mars is in Leo, this effect will also be seen in countries in the Gulf region as well as the African countries. So that is where this power struggle between the army and the judiciary or the army and the masses will occur on a big scale. Now, because Saturn and Mars are mutually aspecting each other, it also shows that in many countries the army may take over the rule by forcibly overthrowing the government. Now, can we neglect Jupiter's aspect? Jupiter is putting a positive aspect on Mars. However, Rahu is also putting an aspect on Mars and thus deluding Mars. Saturn is putting its third aspect on Rahu and Jupiter, and indirectly Saturn is controlling the advisors to Mars. That is, Saturn's third aspect controls Jupiter and Rahu. So, despite wise counsel being available in this time period, Rahu can delude Mars and cause Mars to create confusion. Now, one more interesting thing is that Saturn and Mars both aspect Moon in this time period, and Moon is present in the sign of Scorpio when Mars enters Leo. Now, what is Scorpio? Scorpio represents buried things, Scorpio represents hidden things, and wherever Saturn and Mars put their combined aspect, that house will always undergo a power struggle, which means that your mind, your emotions will undergo an upheaval in this time period. Many secrets will come out in this time period because of the mutual aspect of Mars and Saturn on the Moon in Scorpio. This also shows an emotional outburst among many people in different countries. Now, Moon indicates food. Mars and Saturn mutual aspect indicates a power struggle, which means that in many countries across the world, this mutual aspect brings about a power struggle and results in a hunger crisis. That is, people in different countries may starve for food during this time period. A lot of revelations about people holding powerful positions, leaders will come out in this time period. Now, Mars also represents real estate, Mars represents land, Mars represents property. So, when Mars enters Leo, the real estate prices may go up, but Saturn will put the brakes and cause the real estate to come down, which means that property prices in different countries may dramatically drop in this time period. There could be a real estate crisis coming up in many countries in this time period. Now, as I explained earlier, when Mars's passion is combined with the hard work and patience of Saturn, it also represents advancement in technology, development of new technologies. Now, this mutual aspect of Saturn and Mars often produces the best type of doctors, the best type of surgeons, the best type of mechanical and civil engineers. So, this is a period when surgeons will do well, when there will be advances in medical field and new innovations will come up in this time period. Because Jupiter and Rahu are aspecting Mars, AI will come up in a big way in this time period, and it will be used to solve many of the complex problems in the world, find cure to new diseases. So those are some of the good things that this aspect will also bring about in the world. Now, Mars is also the planet of war. Mars is also the planet of aggression. So this entry of Mars into Leo can trigger war in the African countries and the Gulf countries. And the Russia-Ukraine war may also escalate in this time period because Saturn and Mars are mutually aspecting each other, and it indicates a stronger power struggle. To control the negative impact of this transit, it is very essential to worship Lord Shiva or Hanuman in this time period. That will give people across the world a lot of relief. So, if you recite the Hanuman Chalisa daily evening, or if you worship Lord Shiva daily, then the bad effects of this transit will be greatly reduced. You will find that your mind is more under your control, and the power struggles will eventually disappear from your life. On a personal level, whichever houses Leo and Aquarius rule in your chart, those areas will undergo a kind of power struggle, a kind of conflict in this time period. So let us say if Leo is your ascendant and Aquarius is your seventh house of marriage and partnerships, it means that during this time period you will undergo some turmoil in relationships, some conflict in relationships, some problems in partnerships. But if you have the right amount of patience, the right amount of dedication, and you are ready to put in the necessary hard work, then at the end of this transit, you will get very good results despite all the challenges that you face in this time period. So, to summarize, this transit is going to amplify the Russia Ukraine war. Some more countries may get involved in that war. Second thing is, it will bring about a lot of technological advances in the medical sector. It will bring about army rule in many countries. There will be a struggle between the judiciary and the army, or the masses and the army during this time period. In your personal life, whichever houses Leo and Aquarius represent, those areas will undergo some amount of turmoil. But if you exhibit patience, if you put in the hard work, and if you pray daily, then the negative effects will be easily controlled. Other than this, I also see a real estate crisis coming up in many countries because Mars is the karka for land, property, and real estate. And when Saturn is putting its aspect on Mars, and Mars is also mutually aspecting Saturn, this can bring about a crisis in the real estate sector. Now, one thing to remember is Saturn is retrograde, and retrograde planet will always bring about issues from the past. Saturn is the karka for karma. So, in this time period, issues related to your work life, issues related to your past karma will come to the forefront, and you will have to face the consequences of that. So friends, if you like this video, please mark it as liked on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to our channel, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button. For any queries, please write to us at astrosevaworld@yahoo.com. And we'll be glad to assist you. To know more about us, visit our website astroseva.tripod.com. So friends, thanks a lot. Bye. Take care and stay safe.